We're just too different. Maybe we're not meant to be together. We've just been trying and trying and trying, and we just have different interests. We just don't seem to have enough similarities that we can connect really well. I hear these statements sometimes in the first few sessions of couples therapy. And usually underneath these statements is this quiet plea from the client saying, please change my mind. I don't want it to be over. I don't want this relationship to end, but I'm kind of running out of hope here. Like we've tried to connect. We just have so many different interests. It's just hard to connect. Let's talk about that. My name is Rick from rickgrundytherapy.com. Differences are not the best reason to end a relationship because differences actually create the opportunity for intimacy. We need differences in order to grow in intimacy. Now, I get it. When you're in a really deep relationship, you want to find these ways to connect and spend meaningful time together. But we're really talking about preferences, and people have different kinds of preferences. And when people's preferences don't line up, they can be threatened by that. Well, here's the good news. The differences actually create the chance to grow in intimacy. You can't be intimate with a clone. There is no self discovery or other discovery when trying to connect with a clone. You might as well just be looking in a mirror at yourself. It's the differences that begin the journey of discovery. And here's a little bit of a concept that people don't immediately grasp or ever understand when they're trying to develop that emotional intimacy with somebody else. Intimacy is not only the discovery of somebody else, intimacy is as much self discovery as it is other discovery. So, in the very beginning stages of the relationship, we may be discovering who the other person is. We may be opening ourselves up to their inner world, and we have this deeper level of understanding. But as the relationship matures, as we move from infatuation into something that looks a little bit more like love and commitment, what begins to happen is we know the other person so well that we see ourselves through the other person's eyes. And that tends to be how we look at differences in the relationship. So, where one person is the kind, for example, where one person is the kind of person that likes to stay home at the end of the day and read and relax, but the other person wants to go out with some friends and play pool and play pinball, then the person who's staying at home may see themselves through the eyes of their partner, and they say of themselves, huh, I'm the person that's not with my partner. I'm the person that's rejected the invitation to go out on a date, and I don't like that about me. Except they won't say, I don't like that about me. They'll simplify that very complex thought and feeling, and they'll say, you need to stop going out because when you go out, we don't have time to spend together. It's a really complex way of looking at intimacy, but it's real that as we grow in our knowledge of the other person, we also grow in our knowledge of how the other person sees us. We see ourselves through the lens of the other person. So intimacy is actually as much as other discovery as it is self-discovery. And if it weren't for the differences that we find in others, we wouldn't understand something about ourselves either. So the differences actually create pathways for understanding, pathways for growth. It creates the opportunity for intimacy. Pretty complex, I know. Strange idea, I know. So here's the good news. While I'm working with couples through this idea of intimacy, what happens is the phrase, I think we're just too different, becomes, we are different. We begin asking ourselves questions. I wonder what adventure our differences can take us on. I wonder what I need to be curious about you and myself. And then intimacy then becomes a journey of how can we better understand each other? How can I better understand you? And how can I better understand me as you experience me? It's this wonderful dynamic. Differences are not the reason to throw in the towel and say, we're done. However, it may be a reason to reach out to a therapist and say, we need some help here, because there are a lot of micro skills that couples require in order to sort through differences. And I can probably help with some of those micro skills. So if you need some help, and if you think that someone like me can journey with you, why don't you sign up for a free consult? Reach out at rickgrundytherapy.com. We'll book a free 15-minute consult, and we'll just see if I'm the kind of therapist that is a good fit for what you two are looking for. That's it for now. And until next time, you rock.